All right, so I've got a lot of stuff to go over tonight, and the first thing to talk about is something that Hoserlu posted, and this is actually really cool because if you are trying to get a position somewhere as a producer or director or an animator or a set builder or anything like that, so there's this new production called Wendell and Wild, and so this is actually really cool because there's some information that Hoserlu found, and that is that, well, first off, it says here the following job announcement is from the producers of Wendell and Wild, and it's basically a Henry Selick film. It's going to be funded by Netflix, and you can post your your CV, your resume, portfolio, and reels to wendellandwild at gmail.com, and they're accepting demo reels and for stop motion animators. And if you would like to apply, please send your contact details, demo reel, and resume to that email address. And they've got a website as well, but currently there's not much on it. There's just the same information and this picture. But there is more information out there on Cartoon Brew, and it goes over who's involved and whatnot. Um, so it sounds interesting. There's really not a lot of information about. One second, guys. 1 second. Once I start the show, the cat wants to leave. But so Netflix is basically producing it. But I'm imagining they're wanting to have a full cast of people to help make it, and they also kind of said here that this is Netflix's second original stop motion feature pickup, which is not really true because they did the film The Little Prince. So this is actually the third, and the second one would be Bubbles, and that's about Michael Jackson's pet chimp, which is kind of an interesting. It's a cool thing that they're making it, but I think the timing is really bad because I saw that they released this. It's a documentary about Michael Jackson that was it's in the film festival circuit right now, and it's getting a lot of attention, and a lot of people are really mad at Michael Jackson, even though he's dead, for molesting kids and all this kind of stuff. So I don't know how that's going to actually impact Bubbles. Like it's just it's really bad for that project. What's going on? So maybe it will not matter that Michael Jackson's getting really super bad press, but or maybe by the time it comes out, that will be somewhat forgotten, which is really not really likely. But we'll see. But again, so this project is it's brand new, and if you want to send your resume and your reel to wendellandwild at gmail.com, maybe you can get a job. Who knows? So really, really exciting. And Henry Selick, of course, made Night Before Christmas, Monkey Bone, James and the Giant Peach, Slow Bob, all those films that you guys already know. But yeah, so thank you, Hoserlu, for posting that. And also on our website, there's a lot of new posts on here, which is kind of cool. And so feedback week is next week. Next Wednesday we're gonna talk about whatever you guys post on our page. I'll open it up here real quick. Ugh, excuse me. So of course we have a link at the top. So here's feedback week, and you can post your pictures of your work, your sketches, your animation tests and so forth. And we have a link, and shows you how to post your pictures, because this is something that is a little bit hard to do on the site. It's a little bit confusing. So I kind of broke it down here with some pictures, and you click this link here to post your work, and the latest discussion thread is at the top. So you click that, and you can see what people are posting. And so I know Dan Metal Mad is posting pictures of his animated intro, which is cool. He's working on looks like some flames, which are replacement, and his logo. So we're gonna look at all this next week. There's also he's got some animation, as well as Grandview, who posted this, and I don't really want to get too much into that. Also, Zakira she hasn't posted in a while. It's unfortunate, but her YouTube channel, she says, got demonetized. Hey, Jason, welcome back. And so she deleted almost 100 videos. So that really stinks. She's just trying to, I guess what she's doing is she posted copyrighted music on her videos, it says. And I guess that they demonetized her, all her videos. I'm not really sure if it was like all of them or just some of them, but she re-uploaded one of her animations that she really liked and changed the soundtrack to it. But so she said she replied and said, I had a copy of most of my videos on my computer, and I'm uploading them to a new YouTube channel called Clay Yandere. So maybe she'll post that sometime in the future and we can check that out. But yeah, a lot of neat posts and everything on here. So check it out. And yeah, so last week you guys were asking about the Star Destroyer project that I was working on, and you guys all seemed really excited about it. So you asked me to show pictures of what it looked like, and this is the 3D printed Star Destroyer, and it's only 9 inches long. It's really small, and I posted this on Facebook. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Oops. And this is a composite image of several images. You can sort of see the lines across the entire thing. And it's in 5 different pieces, which I assembled and put together and used some filler material to hide the lines where it goes together. And also, this is a small ship. Of course, this is Princess Leia's ship. I guess it's the, Tentative 4. And it's literally, my fingernail is almost bigger than this ship. So just to kind of make you guys understand the scale, it's really small. I think I had a picture on here with my finger on there. Well, I guess I only used that for Facebook. But here's the underside. Oh, this is where my finger is. So you can see how small the ship is. And this is before I painted. What I did was I got some glow-in-the-dark, it's like a sand material. It's like a powdery sand. And it's called let me see here. Is it strontium aluminate, I think it's called. It sounds like a radioactive material, but it's not. It's a kind of ceramic. And they add some sort of ingredients to color it. So again, this is before I added the little dots of the strontium aluminate. What I did is I took some matte varnish, and it's acrylic based, and I mixed it in with some of the sand. And like I say, it's really fine, but it's kind of gritty, and it's a little bit hard to mix into to things. You gotta kind of stir it in, and after that, I used a paintbrush and kind of went over the whole thing. And let me see if I can give you an example of that. I think this one, we'll just go through these. So this here is where I used a laser to light up the back of the ship, so that doesn't really count. Doesn't really show the glow-in-the-dark elements very well. But this paint that I made is in different shades of blue. There's white, there's green, there's orange, all kinds of stuff. But I found that the white is more leaning towards green, unfortunately. Yeah, the Bandai model is really like the best model you can buy. Again, this is just, just for fun. I made one for my nephew, which was a little bit smaller than this, and I scaled this one up for my son to give to him. and he's really excited about it. So some of the paints only glow with ultraviolet light. So if you put it out in the sun and bring it into a dark room, it will glow, particularly the violet colors. And hey, Ken. So these don't really show it very well. So you can kind of see the engines glowing in the back here, because this was a long exposure, and it actually works pretty well. What I ended up doing with the back part is, so the inlets or the nozzles, I took the matte varnish and I painted the insides of these, and then I used the darker blue to fill it up, and then I poured it out onto a piece of paper to save what came off, And then in the center part, I added more of this varnish and used a lighter blue, so you have two different shades. So it kind of looks like the inside part is more intense than the outer edge, which I think it worked pretty good. And it's really hard to tell here because these are long exposures, and even though it was a little bit dark in the room, everything looks much brighter. Let's see, I can't click. This thing is kind of temperamental. This was a long exposure. Kind of looks like I got hit by an ion cannon or something, from Empire Strikes Back. But you can see sort of how the ultraviolet laser, would light up the glow-in-the-dark material. You can see sort of like the dots I put on there. Not really the greatest paint job, but like I say, it's really tiny and very hard to, I wanted to have, there's different parts of the ship that are lit up brighter than others, and wanted that to kind of like be brighter here, and yeah, kind of didn't work so great, but let me see. So this shot you can see is, whoops, in the dark, almost in the dark, and you can see the engines lit up. And you can sort of see the garbage chute in the back. So I used some orange colored sand, and again, it still looks more on the, more like green to me. And then, let's see, no. Next one. And this shot here, you can see I used the brightest of the material, which is almost like a green color, and put it on the inside of the bay underneath where the ship goes inside. So, I mean, the pictures don't really do it justice. It looks a lot better when you take it in the dark, and it kind of glows on its own, and everything else is well, yeah, you just have to see it, unfortunately. But this is probably the best I can do with my photography skills. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun, and actually I have a little bit more to do. I have to seal seal all those parts that I put on there with the matte varnish, because I sort of dusted it on where I put the varnish in certain areas. I want to make sure that it's nice and sealed. So hopefully it won't rub off. I think that's so you can sort of see here. So what I did in some of these shots, which I thought maybe if you guys ever wanted to reproduce sort of how they used to do this in the old days, they would take different passes with film and do different lighting techniques. So they would have like the rim light on the back of a ship, and then they would have a sort of an overall light, and then they would also have let's see here, a detailed pass where the light is in the front, and they would combine these all in an optical printer and come up with a composite. And that seemed to work pretty good because I used that for this image. Whoops. I actually ended up layering a lot of those shots together so you can see the details, but also everything would be nice and crisp. And that's probably the best shot that I can get. Even the small ship, you can see all the details because of the rim light. But Yeah, miniature photography is not really my forte. A lot of times I just kind of, wing it and see how things turn out. You know, by trial and error. I think most directors of photography can plan stuff out, and they're just perfect at it, but not this guy. So, anyways, let's see. It's almost 8:16. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys this as well because this is a more professional model, and this is something that some person, an unknown named person, who goes by L Skazkaz or Skazkaz01 on YouTube created, and I guess he's maybe in Japan. Maybe he's Japanese. I'm not entirely sure. But anyways, so this is De Agostini build Star Wars Millennium Falcon complete auto demo mode. So he's added lights in here. Actually, you know what? He's not Japanese because the video I've seen where the guy talks about how it's made is definitely not a Japanese accent. But let's quickly show you what he's done. And I'll kind of scrub through here in a few different spots. So he's motorized most of the parts on the inside. So he's got a door that comes down, goes back up. It's all powered. It's all LEDs, and he's got a bunch of electronics on the inside as well. I'm thinking maybe like a Raspberry Pi or something like that can be programmed. And so a lot of this stuff, if you're making a stop motion film and you want to make a spaceship, well, this is sort of what you're aspiring to achieve, in detail and skill and all that. So the person that I think made this is Christopher Olsen. As I can see in the related videos, this is the part 13, his cockpit build of it. I could be wrong, like maybe they're selling these as kits and everybody is able to make these, somehow. So maybe this De Agostini is something like a Star Wars fan that puts these together as kits, maybe? Yeah, Jason, composite images. If I remember in the old Movie Magic shows I would watch, they showed how they shot some of the Star Trek Enterprise shots with the ship is like 8 foot long or 10 foot long, and it's got all the LEDs, and it's got blaster effects, and like it shoots out the photons, so there's flashes of light and all those sort of things. And I guess because when you do long exposures like you saw in the shots that I had done, those long exposures tend to wash out most of the detail, especially in a ship that is light colored, like all mostly gray with just some different shades of it. So long exposures don't seem to be your friend in that case. But the problem is that when you're filming it, you need to have a long exposure because you want it all to be sharply in focus. Because once you get that the focus is too short, your focal length is too short, that means that you would have like a strip of your ship in focus, and then the closer it is, the more blurry it is, and the further away from that point, the more blurry it is, and it gives away the scale. So you have to do long exposures in order to get the because if you look at, like, for example, if you were to walk on an aircraft carrier in real life, everything would be sharp, from your point of view. So only in a miniature like this, like a Millennium Falcon or Star Destroyer, would parts of it be blurry and parts be sharp. So this is a great model, and even the inside of the, you can see here where Luke or Han Solo would be firing the guns. We've got the tube, and we've got all the lights on the instrument panels. This is just like the most beautiful model you'll probably ever ever see, honestly. And then the really cool part is the inside is also detailed. And I remember that Christopher Olsen in some of the videos showed that one of the tricks to making the corridors look like they're, continuing on from this point forward is he would make this, the tunnel which ends here, and then he would put in a mirror after that point so that the mirror would reflect the, this area in front of it, and it appears to kind of go around the back. So he explained how he made most of this stuff, but he didn't actually, to my knowledge, show, the creation of all these elements where Luke is inside and Obi-Wan and everything like that. So he's even got it where, Luke's lightsaber lights up. It's just crazy. A red dwarf ship. That would be cool. Yeah, Nev Buchanan is making a lot of models and things for his project, and he's been posting a lot of that stuff on Facebook. But I just wanted to share this with you guys at the start of the show. This is some inspiration. Really beautiful model work. And if you guys are interested, this is LSkazKaz01. But Christopher Olsen is the channel that I've seen this being built on. And it's very, there's a lot of parts to it. He goes over every little detail.
Too light should be, 'cause I'm
he's using reference from the real ship, marking off where things are. This would be like where the LEDs are.
So now that I've got those marked,
goes over drilling it, puts in the LEDs, shows how to solder.
Resistor on there so that they don't
it's really super involved, and but also very revealing. So so check his channel out if you're interested. It's just Christopher Olsen is the name of the channel. And again, like I don't know if this particular kind of kit that people are buying, or maybe somebody's custom making these parts or something. He did seem to have a bunch of parts which were oh, let me do something here. Not part of whatever the original kit that he's using was from. I need to manage my screen here a little bit better. Where'd that go? There it is. Alright, stuff just disappears for no reason. Anyways, so back to Bad Apples. So we haven't worked on this project in a while. So Moho is a thing that gave me problems in terms of... let's get rid of all this stuff. I think Photoshop is not behaving properly. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. So Moho is something that I bought, but I realized that didn't know that the debut version of it wouldn't allow me to import Photoshop files for animation. And so, of course, I made a lot of Photoshop files of all the characters, and then I had to convert those to PNG files, and that's going to take a while. But this here is something that I wanted to work on, and maybe we could work on this shot first for animating. Come on, Photoshop. I think I'm having memory issues because this is such a big file. Stuff is disappearing off my screen too. Like, where did all my stuff go down here? Yeah, I don't know if Photoshop's gonna work for me here. This is weird. Alright, I'm gonna close that. Where'd everything go? Alright, I think I'm just gonna close this and reopen it. Alright, let's do this again. This is definitely a very large image to work with, and I think that's why most of the stuff on my screen was just gone. Alright, let's see if this will load up. Nope, that's the wrong one. Alright, let's go back here. So where did I put it? Maybe outside shot with sky. Okay, I think it's this one. Hey Mats, you're back. Yeah, this is a shot that hopefully, if Photoshop will cooperate, we can animate. And so there's a bunch of different elements to animate. Alright, this is definitely working now. Okay. So I did actually work on this a little bit earlier. So one of the things I didn't really like about this was that the color of the original, I'll show you guys. The sky that I had sculpted is more along the lines of this, and I didn't really like the way it looked. So it's not necessarily bad, you know, it's okay, and it's got the texture in there and all that. But I wanted this sky to be more natural looking, and so what I did is I made a background, which is a more natural sky color, and then added these on top of it to have the texture, the clay texture. I think it just looks a lot nicer that way. And then this is also a background that I've added, and I was thinking that this might be kind of nice to have the like rolling hills in the background. And so you can sort of see what that looks like. They're sort of hazy and everything, but I don't have anything on this side. And that's the only problem. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna maybe rephotograph that with some green hills over here, you know, or mountains or something to sort of differentiate the two sides, because the left side is the barren wasteland, and the right side is, you know, the lush green, fertile land with lots of apples. But for now, I'm gonna keep it like this. And then I want to add, let's see, some clouds. So I've got, let me see here. So we got the clouds here. Let's hope this works. Okay. So I think this is the set of clouds that I want to use. And these are all gone like that. So let's do this. In fact, let me first, what does that do? Ooh. Those are some really white clouds. So I'm not sure if I'm liking the color of these, because this is more like ivory. I'm not really entirely sure why I chose ivory to make the clouds. So let me see here. It might be because might have been washed out when I photographed it. I think that might have been my logical thought process. Alright, so I'm going to change the color balance a bit. I'm going to make these more neutral colored instead of yellow. Not even sure if that makes sense. Hey, Animatast. And let me see here. I think blurring these might be kind of nice as well. The sharpness here is a little bit, it's a little bit too sharp around the edges, so I'm gonna I'm gonna blur it a bit. And so by the way, so this here, these will all have to be PNG, .png elements. Yeah, you know, I can definitely do that, Jason. Let me see here. Well, first let me put this in here. Oh yeah, so I also made the door area, the inside of the house, a darker black. Let me paste this in. Let's see what this looks like. There we go. There's a cloud. And I think that blur around the edge helps us a lot. And that definitely looks like it fits in really well. Alright, I like that. So I'm going to use this, move this down here, and then copy, paste. Same with this one. So with these, you know what I could do when I'm doing my animations, I can even animate these clouds, you know, slightly moving across, that sort of a thing. I'm going to sort of shrink this one down a bit. Maybe make it longer like this. That might work too. Let's see. That's pretty good. Okay. Opacity, let's see, we could. Yeah. Can make them sort of translucent. I think if I go too translucent though, it's got that digital look to it. Sort of like a video game or something. So maybe just a little bit. We can copy layer style and then paste it. Make them all the same. So yeah, that works pretty well. So the blue sky area has a texture to it, as opposed to just, you know, a straight color. I think that makes a big difference. Sort of brings it all together. Because I was a little bit worried before the way that the original sky looked. The color just looks way off. Yep, you're exactly right, Omar. But I'm actually not too worried about that here because I'm going to be cutting all of these elements out. I'm going to save this real quick, just in case. This might take a second to save. But I'll be cutting out all these elements and making them into PNG files and reassembling them in Moho. Because originally I was going to just, you know, import the Photoshop file, which you can do on the full version of that program. But you can't do that with this, unfortunately. And so with the rolling hills, there are more hills in here as well. And I could make it where the hills go across. Something like this. Sort of like that. Let's see. See what that looks like. Oop. Yeah, for such a big file, it's just my computer does not like the file size at all. Hopefully Moho won't have this kind of issue. I mean, the PNG files, I mean, I could actually, come to think of it, I could probably resize most of these things. Let's see how everything just like starts to disappear. There we go. It's not too bad. So we also had to work out something with the creek here. We need to sort of, so let me erase some of this. Let's see if I can make that bigger. There we go. That's going to be something to contend with. And then we also had to add the door, which would be separate, you know, door elements, PNG elements. Oh, okay, that's good to know. So a whiskey is saying you can do opacity and focus / blur in Moho directly to the layers or each object. Now, I'm not sure. I did see the blur options in debut, so I'm pretty sure that works. But in terms of opacity, that's something that I'll have to make sure my version can do. But I mean, it doesn't really matter because I can do it here as well. So even if it can't, at least I have a backup plan. So Matt says, did you shoot the pictures with objects straight on the green screen? Nope, I didn't. But they were a little bit close to the green screen. So I did try my best to get the green spill off of these objects. You know, it's one of those problems that at least, you know, you can't really tell too well. I mean, you can kind of see it, but you have to zoom in pretty far. And if it is a problem, if it shows up in the final film, I will be able to go back in here and clean it up. But this particular shot here, everything's going to be small in frame. There won't be any close-up shots in this sequence. That was pretty good so far, though. Alright, so I do need to add the crow on one of the branches. I think he goes on this one, and then the doors. So let me go here and see if I can. Oop. I think the doors would be good to add. Alright, so it's got to be in here. Actually, I didn't do that yet. So I think I'll load up one file at a time because that way my computer won't be bogged down. So you guys can see that's going to be the door. It's going to go here somewhere. So yeah, these were, the way that I shot these was just on a rig with you know, four legs, and then the legs have supports to, you know, make it into sort of like a box, and then I have glass shelves, I think like 3 shelves, and so the green screen is at the very back of everything, and then these were on the, I think the middle or front. So you can see what they look like. This is just a raw shot right here of it. So what these represent here, this is a sequence of just the doors, you know, opening up, or the door opens up, and it's, let me see. Hopefully this will look good when it's done. So, oh, Whiskey mentioned this thing called switch layers, and so these will have to be on in a folder by themselves. And I will make visible and hide, you know, all of the doors depending on what frame I need to work on. So, or to reveal. Let's see. So how many of these do I have? I got another one. So I've got 2 more. There's 6 total doors in the sequence. Or 1 door, but 6 different positions. And yeah, it seems weird that I'm loading it up like this each time, but I don't want to load them all at once, because if I do, for sure my computer will lock up like it did before. Because I had previously had all these opened up. And it didn't like it. So I'm going to save it in case it crashes. It's pretty sad I actually got to worry about it crashing, but I think it'll save. Keeping my fingers crossed. And my computer is not even technically a slow computer. Okay, very good. Very good Photoshop. So now I'm just going to use the magic wand. And delete that. I didn't say delete. Yes, I can. Delete. Delete. Oop. Yeah. Where are we here? Which one? Oh, okay. I selected the black door part, I think. Anyways, here we go. So, any green spill, I will do my best to just kind of erase carefully here. Then I'll kind of somewhat align it to the house. And then later on, I can just turn these into the PNG files. And then from there, put it in a folder, make it into switch layers, and hopefully that will work. I kind of regret that I didn't buy the full version of Moho, because it would just be a lot more convenient. Oops, get in there. That's too close. What do I think of Kimmy Gibbler? Kimmy Gibbler. Never heard of that person. What's the what kind of film did they make? Did they make a film, or are they like a meme or something? Is it a joke? Not sure. Okay, so this is probably not going to be too bad. Again, like I said before, the shot here that I'm working on will be far from the camera. And I mean, if you want to say that it's far from the camera, if that makes sense, the the shot's going to be in the distance to be more accurate. This is probably good enough for this one. Oh, too far, too far. All right, let's get in there. Now this one. A Whiskey said it would be nice to have the back hills on its own layer. It would actually. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. And if the file size for the backgrounds are too large, you should be able to cut it into two and place them back together in Moho in the scene as needed to save on RAM. Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But that's a good idea. That's a good plan if it fails. I've got a lot of RAM on this computer too. I mean, it's I'm not really sure how large this file size is for this. Okay, that's probably good for that one. Number 3, and this one here is I gotta get rid of all this stuff, so I'm gonna use the lasso. What I did was use a piece of clay to prop this up on the table in order to make sure that I had the right angle. Let's get rid of that part. That's why it looks kind of strange. This one here has a lot of green in the bottom portion, so do not want that. All this stuff. That's the bad part about clay, is it's got that, you know, the oils in there which reflect light, like green screens, when you don't want it to. This one here has really got a lot of green reflecting on the side as well, but nothing I can do unless I alter all the colors for all these doors, and I don't want to do that. Yeah, I was thinking, you know, to have some green hills on the right side and brown hills on the left side to sort of, you know, illustrate abundance and just, you know, a wasteland in the back or something. Yeah, this is pretty much, you know, this is going to be a cool shot. I'm also going to have to, let me see, I think there's a nighttime shot, there's a daytime shot, so I'm probably going to end up having to recolor most of this for the nighttime scenes. Maybe add a lot of blues and more contrast. And I'm hoping I can make it look natural, because if not, if I can't do it in Photoshop, I'll probably end up having to, you know, physically light the different elements and re-photograph everything. And I'd rather do it in Photoshop because it's a lot more convenient, but we'll see how that looks. Sometimes really lighting stuff makes a big difference. A lot of times you can tell when stuff is, you know, altered digitally, and I don't really want. I kind of want to have consistency. I want it all to look real, if possible. Even though I'm animating it all digitally and oh yeah, my son he's on his Xbox, and he's got some friends on there, and when they play Fortnite, sometimes they do silly stuff, and it, you know, they get giddy. He came right in my office here right when I started the live show, right exactly at 8 o'clock. And he's like, "Do you know this guy on YouTube? You gotta check him out, Daddy." Some person I never heard of. Maybe he was telling me about Kimmy Gibbler. I don't know. So Stephanie, if you're still there, you should explain. Kimmy Gibbler, is that a producer, a director, a filmmaker? You know, somebody on YouTube or somebody I should check out? Never did get a response from her, but now I'm curious. I'm gonna have to check it out after the show. I'm gonna have to Google that. I mean, there's so many amazing artists out there on YouTube. It's like in a sea of amazing artists. There's so many artists that do things that are, you know, way better than I ever did when I was younger. I mean, so many people have a head start in stop motion and filmmaking because like the current generation was born, you know, with YouTube intact as it is, for the most part. That's weird. It's like a bunch of floating doors. But you know, just the fact that people have YouTube was something I never had as a kid. I never did. But you know, if I did, I would have definitely been making stop motion films from like age 5. You know, would have had a big head start. Alright, so we got our doors here. I'm gonna see if I can align this with what we made. Oops. So the door is slowly opening. I don't really know how that's going to look. In Moho, I'll probably have to readjust all these, but that's alright. Let's go do this. Just to kind of get a general idea of what this would look like. Oops. Okay. So, if we were going to animate this, that'd be the first position. This would be the second. As you can see, it's a little bit too big. But, like I say, in Moho, I can adjust all that stuff. And voila, that'll be the open door. So I'll have the main character, the mother, will come out of this door, she'll open it and walk across here and look up and see if there's any apples in her tree. And so she's going to have to see a crow up top, and that crow is going to be... let me first save this. How much time do we have left? Oh man, I'm out of time already. So probably the next live show, what I'll do is I'll add the crow, and we also have to work on this creek. And I'm thinking of making some sort of animated elements here in Photoshop. Just like, lines to resemble water, flowing here. So Matt says, the first stop motion animation I made was when I was 9. I just shot a picture and then pressed next quickly. I think everybody does that when they start out. I did the same thing. And so Matt says, and I didn't know stop motion was a technique. I just had the idea, and then later I found out. Almost invented a new animation technique in my head. I did. That's funny. That's cool you figured it out, though, on your own. That's really funny. But anyway, so next time we have the creek to contend with. And also, I don't know if I'm going to be adding the king's castle in the background. I think that I might end up adding that probably to the far right side here. I think that would be best because, yeah, actually, let me see. So if I try to open... Alright, I'm going to try to open this. I don't know if it's going to lock up because this is also a big file. Let's just see what happens here. Hey, Mr. Gold. We're just about to wrap this show up. You got here. But it's nice to see you again. Alright. The King's Castle. So I'm going to plop this in here really quick. Okay, so I'm going to put this where? Here. Oh, I can delete that, I believe. Let me see. I'll make my file size smaller. Okay, so castle. All right, because the castle is going to be in the background, and what will happen? So the clouds and everything had to be readjusted, but the king comes out of his castle from this little drawbridge at the top and addresses his people. And so they're all going to be sort of in the front of this apple tree, and they're going to react to what he says. And so that definitely would be kind of nice to be in the shot. Maybe somewhere over here or something. Move this out of here like this. That might work. I might end up playing around with this, but yeah, I don't get an error. I just, but Photoshop ends up, oh, okay. Sorry, Mr. Gold. Catch you later. Yeah. I don't get a memory error, but Photoshop just locks up. Sometimes I'll get an hourglass, and then it will say, it's failed to respond, and do you want to close it, or do you want to wait? And you can hit wait, and sometimes it won't do anything for forever. So you just end up, I go into my task manager and just close it out. Have a good night, Animatas. All right. Well, anyway, guys. So next week will be feedback week, and so make sure to turn your projects in on time. Again, visit animateclay.com and post it there. And I do appreciate you guys stopping in and just chatting for a while and checking out some those models and talking about news and our project. And I guess I'll see you all next week. See you later.